Hello, hello. Welcome in. You are on the lifeboat. I had to move my microphone. Good morning. This is Captain Calhoun speaking, pouring coffee. You know the deal. What's going on, folks? Thanks for your patience. Kristen Melinda, my own eyes and ears. Nicola E, love it. Hello, hello. What's going on, y'all? Charlie Mullins, Shannon Trim, Lisa Hill, Lesta Crochet. Good to see all of you. Welcome aboard. We are live, are we not? Fantastic. Happy Saturday. I believe that's what day it is. JCC, what's going on, dude? Good to see you. I have been watching William White and movie analysis this morning with my coffee, and it's been quite enjoyable. Do we have any Quentin Tarantino fans out there? Crafty Witch, what's going on? Good to see you. Happy Saturday. Been watching an analysis on a scene from his most recent flick, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is like about the golden age of Hollywood and its end. And it's quite intriguing. I really enjoy stuff like that. I could see myself doing content like that. I tell you what, I could definitely see myself farting around with some movie analysis. Blue Nose, hello, hello. Good evening to the UK. Thanks for joining us. You know, I think today we're gonna talk about some William White inspired concepts and maybe just hang out a little bit as well. I'm still not feeling optimal, but you know, you can't always feel optimal, so we're just gonna do what we can. James Collins says, I can't stay. Guest on a panel again today, but wanted to stop in and share some love and hit that like. Well, I appreciate you, James. Have a good time on your panel, man. I'll if we once we get done here, I'll come through and see what's going on. Are you going to be on Synchronized Souls? Oh no, gonna get coffee on my new pants. Suboptimal today too. I'm sorry to hear that, Nicola. Sweet man, I'll pop in after we do this thing. Before we get into recovery, this fun thing is on my mind, and I just want to finish my thought process, if you guys don't mind. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, again, is about like the golden age of Hollywood, and this analysis was analyzing the Spawn Ranch scene. Spawn Ranch is a famous movie production ranch, I guess, and it also has ties to the Manson family. And I don't know all the story and the history or whatever, but there's this scene where the stunt double, aka Brad Pitt, like arrives on Spawn Ranch, and it's so interesting. It's like a direct comparison to the scene that immediately preceded it. Is an actual, they're shooting a movie in the movie, right? So like a one-to-one comparison, it's almost the exact same scene, except one is like a brand new glistening movie set and the other is a decrepit, broke down movie set that's been invaded by hippies, aka the Manson family. It's just very interesting the way that you can use visuals, angles, dialogue, pauses, edits, and cuts, just it all like in all directed to get you to get one unique experience. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's good stuff. And on top of that, real versus fake, the fiction versus reality, the whole movie is about that. The whole thing, because the two main characters are the actor and his stunt double. His stunt double ends up being the hero. It's good stuff. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend. If you're into Quentin Tarantino, super duper good. Very different, very great departure from his normal stuff. But that being said, hello, hello, Lynn D, Shannon Trim, Arwa, good to see you guys. I've been doing some more William White this morning, and I think we're going to watch a couple clips and then discuss them. That's my plan. You guys game? I think I need to pull it up on this, though. Give me just a minute. Do. 20 seconds in. I forgot that I have to do it in the same browser for some reason. Okay. But you guys have any fun weekend plans while I'm getting this together? What's going on with y'all this weekend, huh? I am really looking forward to not doing anything fancy. Last weekend I went airsofting and totally beat myself up. This weekend I'm going to not do that. This weekend I'm going to come out the other side feeling great. Great. 228. Okay. We got it. Let's see how this goes. Which one's which? This one, this one. Hey Leanne, what's going on? What was the film called again? Asks Nicola. That is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Speaking of game, Spanx gaming last night was awesome. Dude, I haven't played that game in so long. I really enjoyed that. I really, really enjoyed that. I tell you what, I may do some more today. We'll see. We'll see. I wonder why I feel embarrassed about playing games publicly. There's probably some sort of insecurity inside me for the amount of time I spend playing games or something like that. Because I tell you what, if there wasn't an insecurity or an uncomfortability about it, I would just stream that stuff all the time. I tell you what, no post on Sunday, but there is church on Sunday. What's going on, Roberta? Hello, hello. All right, here we go. This is Mr. William White talking about, I forget at the moment. We'll see.
People who will ever relapse following an episode of addiction treatment, called an index episode. So if I take 100 people or 1,000 people and we take this admission and we study all those people who will ever relapse after their discharge from this one episode of treatment, and we look at all of those who relapse, between 80% and sometimes even as high as 90% of those will do so in the first 90 days.
You guys hear that?
Is that an amazing?
You hear what he said? He said, after treatment, following treatment, those that are going to relapse, 90% of them will do so in the first 90 days. That is an amazing statistic. I want to, one more time.
All of those who relapse, between 80% and sometimes even as high as 90% of those will do so in the first 90 days.
That's wild.
Is that an amazing figure? Did everybody hear what I just said?
That is amazing.
Of all the people who will ever relapse, when you tell them goodbye, 80% will do so in the first 90 days.
What does that tell us? Initial recovery is very important, right? The foundation that we build is either going to carry us or bury us. Let that sink in. If this recovery journey is of any importance to you, I think that the first 90 days should also be very important to you. And I hate coming on here and telling you should and this and that. You know what I mean? I don't like telling people what to do, but I mean, the statistics surrounding what we're going through are abysmal. It's depressing. And if you were to separate men and women in these studies, women have it even worse. And I don't know why that is, but it's what the data says. Also, if your substance of choice is opiates, you're a little worse off as far as the statistics say. It appears to be a harder substance to kick than your run-of-the-mill substance. So, I guess all of that just to say, man, the foundation is what we're going to build on, right? The foundation is what we're going to live on. There's an old parable about building your house on the sand and then it washes away, right? You got to build it on a nice firm bedrock, right? It's the same thing with our recovery. Why am I sweating? I hate so uncomfortable sometimes. I'll tell you what, it is nice in here, but I'm sweating. Our foundation is very important. This is one of the reasons that I'm not going out and getting a social life. Although I will say I probably have pushed that as far as I possibly can. It's probably time to go do so, right? But I'm almost 2 years deep, right? I'm gonna, at the end of this month, in 9 days exactly, I'm going to be at my, well, God willing, I'll be at my 2 years. So I certainly put that off for a very long time, and that's just me being careful. I've relapsed a lot in my career, right? I have done this thing a few times. I don't know if I'm going to get another shot, right? And that's just me. I'm just saying that the foundation's very important. Um, and I definitely took extra care to set the stage for mine this time around. And if the data, if the scientists, if the people that are way smarter than me are to be believed, um, it's true. All right, so this is actually the wrong one. Let's pull up the other one. What do you guys think about all that, huh? First 3 months is the hardest, says Shannon Trim. Absolutely. Once you get a little routine going, you have something to go back to, right? The initial recovery, right? My first 30 days, even, right? Especially, I don't have anything to go back to. What I just came from was terrible, right? It was my addiction. So I think, again, like that first 3 months, that first 90 days, you set a nice little foundation and then you keep building on it, right? Becomes more and more solid. But if you don't, mind your P's and Q's. The data says 80 to 90% of us after treatment are going to go relapse, basically. Basically. I did paraphrase that a little bit, right? It's a little bit different than that, but it's quite an astronomical number. Nicola E says, done more than 90 days, past 14 months. I guess I should give myself some credit. For real, dude. You really should. You're killing it. In fact, you're killing it. Any amount of time is a miracle, folks. Is a miracle, folks. I try not to compare myself to people that have a bunch of time. I try to just draw inspiration from people that have a bunch of time and those that don't, right? Those that are setting out on this journey, like today is the first day, I draw inspiration from that as well. Because what kind of bravery does it take to step out into that unknown, right? To let go of everything that you've been holding yourself up with, right? All your crutches, and say, I'm gonna figure out a different way. That's terrifying, but also necessary, right? If we want to change our lives, if we actually want to change the narrative, break the cycle, whether it be generational, whether it just be your cycle. Thank you, Blue Nose. This means a lot. I really appreciate you. I have imposter syndrome, something fierce. Every single morning, I'm like, shouldn't be doing this. Who the heck am I? So thank you so much for telling me. Freezing as in it's cold, or my video feed? Scaring me. What's going on, narcoleptic chihuahua? It's good to see you. Happy Saturday, man. Same issues as well. I don't think about milestones anymore, except to the extent the message helps others, right? Or like to reflect on how far I've come. Although one of my really, really good friends, I'm not going to name him at this moment because I don't know how he feels about this statement, but he told me once, I don't count anymore because it's just farther for me to fall. And that really hit me. This is a friend of mine that has really, really struggled with drugs and alcohol and is absolutely killing it in life. I think he finally figured it out. He's got more clean time than me, that's for sure. But yeah, that really hit me, man. That shook me. I don't count time because it's just farther for me to fall. I do count time personally. But that's what works for me, right? You don't have to do what I do. You don't have to do what he does, right? But the point is that he found something that worked for him, and not counting was something that really worked for him. Shout out to my boy. You know who you are. But yeah, man. I think that this recovery thing is so interesting. There are models, there are methods, there are traditions, right? There are those that have come before us, those that have fell before us, right? Those that have come up before us, all of the above and everything in between. But I think the most common denominator that I find with success is that people were not afraid to forge their own path. They got some sort of comfortability from the foundation that they built, and then they weren't afraid to. I'm not telling you to take risks, right? I mean, I think that risks are necessary sometimes, but that's not necessarily what I'm saying. What I'm saying is find what works for you. It might not be exactly what I'm doing or exactly what the person you're drawing inspiration from is doing. It might be similar, it might be completely different, but just don't feel like you need to conform to how other people are doing it, right? What's the most important is that you're living a better life, right? You're doing better than you did the day before. What's the most important is how you feel on the inside. I say that and I still feel absolutely abysmal and broken on the inside sometimes, but I'm moving in the right direction. I have more days up than I do down. Every day is more progress. And that's how I'm measuring my success, right? I think a lot of folks need more structure. And I in fact benefit largely from structure. But I tell you what, man, it's hard to separate like finding what works for me and structure, I guess. It's tricky. This is probably the hardest path that I'm ever going to walk. It's probably the hardest path that any of us are ever going to walk, right? It's a path that's been walked by many, but it's also a path that we haven't quite pathed yet. You know what I mean? It's still a jungle out there. We don't necessarily know the best way to get through it, but we have each other. Johnny says, also, are you going to the gem show? The gem show just ended last week. That was all the work that I was doing. So I did spend some time there, but I didn't get to spend time there for fun. I just got to spend time there on the clock. So I actually didn't even get to see any of the gems in the cases. I just got to set up the beautiful cases and all that stuff, which was kind of a bummer. I was really looking forward to going over there with my dad and checking out watches and gems and seeing all the cool stuff, but I didn't get to do it, man. How you doing, Johnny? It's been a while. Good to see you, man. Hope this message finds you well, big dog. Tara Jackson, hey, hey, hey. Tara says, embrace our flaws, use them for positivity. Absolutely. What makes us unique and different is what makes us special. It might have been 2 weekends in a row. I know that there was a huge gem show out here last weekend, and I was setting it up for work. I feel like unless it just moved to a different convention center, it's not 2 weekends in a row. But it did just happen. It just ended. Brianna Miller, hey, hey, hey. Do you still get cravings? Do the cravings get better over time? And how do you try to prevent yourself from getting cravings? And what do you do when you get them? Interesting. Interesting. This is a complicated answer, and I'm going to do my best. When I was active in my addiction, cocaine was not the only problem, right? It definitely was the capstone. If my addiction was a pyramid, the very tip top, pointy, beautiful stone was, I don't know why I said beautiful, was definitely crack, right? But there was a lot of stuff holding that up. I did a lot of alcohol. I was drinking a lot, I was doing party drugs like hallucinogens and smoking a lot. Like there was a lot of aspects, right, to my addiction. And really, at the heart of it, it was whatever you had so that I could do what I had later by myself, right? It really wasn't about the substance at the end of the day. It was about the escape. But as far as the cravings go, I still crave alcohol. Whenever cocaine comes up in my head, maybe I'll smell it, which is wild. Or like just a passing thought. My initial reaction is fear and terror. It's not craving, which I think is a blessing, but I don't think it works like that for everyone. As far as alcohol goes, when I get that craving, I try to remember the cocaine reaction, the fear and the terror. I try to relate my craving to the terror, and then it helps me not consider it as a viable option. That's how I handle it personally. It's like that being present in the moment, recognizing that I'm having that thought, and then doing some mental gymnastics, right? That's my personal what I'm doing, right? And as far as like preventing them from happening, I think it's just like the farther I get away from active addiction, the more progress I make on healing, the easier it becomes, the less they happen, the less impactful it is when it does happen. And when I say healing, let's talk about that for a second. What does that actually mean? Like, do I have physical damage to my body? Are we talking about my brain? What exactly is healing? And I think the answer is multifaceted. not only is the reward center of our brains busted, right? Not only do I'm not getting dopamine to reinforce positive behavior. I'm getting dopamine to reinforce negative behavior, right? Not only is that part of my brain busted, forgot what I was talking about. Oh my gosh. Cravings. Oh, healing. Not only is the part of my brain that really drives the whole ship busted, but I've done damage to like the parts of my life that I can't touch, taste, feel, smell, see. You know what I mean? Like my home life, my social life, my family life, my interpersonal relationships. Healing in recovery involves everything. So I think that the farther we can get away, right, the more time between, the more distance between me and my addiction, and the more healing that I can do. And often I feel like the healing just involves doing the work, right? I'm journaling, I'm writing down, I'm logging, right, all my ups and my downs. I'm constantly trying to find new ways to like do better, right? Like this question, for example, Brianna, this is asking questions like this is a part of my healing process. When I have questions like this, I'll probably call my dad and ask him, right? Or I'll call Jake and be like, hey, have you ever experienced this? Right. I'll call one of my peers that I'm recovering with, right? Or come to the lifeboat, bring it up, right? This is an essential part of the healing process. But the more that we heal, the more distance we put between ourselves and our addiction, I think the cravings get much more manageable. They get less intense and less powerful. They have less weight, right? And that's because I think if you think about like a set of scales, like right now, most of my experience is addiction, right? The more recovery experience I have, it starts to get easier. You know what I mean? I think that's how I try to visualize it, at least. I hope that helped a little bit, Brianna. It's not easy, that's for sure. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm sending you all sorts of love right now, okay? Let's put some ones up for everyone out there that needs a little extra, that's struggling a little bit, maybe just needs a hug or some love or some thoughts, some prayers, whatever. What's going on, Russ? Big dog. Good to see you, man. Can't tell if I'm getting sick. There's something going on in my chest. Estelle, hello, hello. Good to see you. Nice to make your acquaintance. The using dreams are the worst. I hate those. When I was younger, I used to call them freebies, but I have learned the truth since then. Also, I think it's worth mentioning. Johnny made me think of this with the statement here. I feel like I'm constantly weighing things in my mind, and if I'm weighing like whether or not to take a drink, and I feel like the risk factor is low, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? I try to keep the risk factor in my mind's eye very high. Now, I don't mean I'm putting myself at risk. I mean, when I think about these kinds of things, I try to think of them as risky business, right? I try not to take alcohol for granted just because it wasn't my main thing, you know? And I mean, it's hard to say it wasn't my main thing because I probably did more damage to my brain with alcohol than anything else. We're talking 15, 16 years of abuse, not just having a drink. Almost every single day getting hammered for 15 or 16 years. There's definitely, some days in there I did not, right? But most of those days I was getting messed up. So I try to make sure that no matter what the substance is, I try to assign a risk factor to it in my head so that when it comes down to brass tacks and I'm on the fly and I'm in the moment, maybe I'm not feeling hot, right? And that's the question that comes up in my mind. My first reaction is, oh, that's risky. You know what I mean? That helps me a lot too. I don't know if that helps you all at all. For real, it's funny, right? But at the same time, I started thinking about it like that. And then it progressed, for lack of a better term. I did not stay sober that time around. Shout out to Blessed to Crochet. Thank you for everything you do. I really appreciate you, Mary. We missed someone's birthday. Someone came on and said it was their birthday the following day, and then I said I'd bring out the cupcake for them, and then we never did that. Darn it, I should have brought the cupcake out a day before. I wonder who it was. Now I can't remember. All right, I think that's a good opportunity to pop into the other clip. Brianna says, my cravings pop up when something turbulent happens in my life. Family, grief, loss, etc. I just want to say, screw it, nothing matters, and destroy myself. I need to figure out a healthier way to deal. I have the exact same reaction. It's that crushing apathy that I talk about. All of a sudden, I feel like nothing matters. I'm not of value. Nothing's of value. Why am I even struggling? You know what I mean? I can completely relate with that. And you know, my first inclination is, I don't know how I should say that. I don't want to come across in a certain way. I think that forging a deeper relationship with yourself will really, really help this be easier. And that's now with a grain of salt, right? This is coming from someone that struggles with this to this day, right? But I find it harder to write myself off when I value pieces of me. I don't know. That didn't sound very confident, did it? I'm obviously still struggling with this myself, but I'm attempting to forge a deeper bond with myself in order to make this easier. Because I tell you what, if I valued my own, you know what I was going to say there? I wouldn't struggle with that at all. You know what I mean? I think a huge part of the recovery journey is falling in love with oneself. Because we would never have found ourselves, we would never have been face down on the floor if we valued ourselves in the beginning. I wish I could drop this thing. No, but you get it. That was some divine inspiration right there. I don't know where that came from. What's going on, Dale? Good to see you, man. I'm glad you're not on that sauce anymore, dude. I'm glad I'm not on that sauce anymore. I'm glad we're not on that sauce anymore, guys. Gals and guys. Guys and gals. Much love, Brianna. That was for you, I think. I guess it was for me too, because I needed to hear it too, but hell yeah. Thanks for asking those questions and bringing that up out of me. Keep me updated, yo. I hate to see you struggling, but I mean, it's inevitable. We're all going to go through it, right? So just know that I'm thinking of you and know that you got this and you're worth it. You're dazzling and tremendous, Brianna Miller. Don't you forget it. Flick Fox, we summoned you. We're in need. Where's Flick? I hope you're doing good today, Flick. It's wonderful to see you. Sorry about that mix up the other day. I hope everything's all right. And much love to the both of you. All right, hey, let's check this other clip out before I get emotional. I think it's this one. And it's this one, I think.
To offer. This is 1-year follow-up data. If we want continuous, uninterrupted sobriety, that is the green piece of the pie.
Look how small that is.
Of 600.
I think he said 600 adolescents. 9% of their 600, I believe that's 12 kids. After this, I guess we should back it up and get the context.
Follow-up data. If we want adolescents, this is For our adolescents, this is the Cannabis Youth Treatment Study.
Cannabis use
600
treatment
adolescents
study.
randomly assigned to the best outpatient treatment.
Is it just me, or when he says cannabis, do y'all find it less important? Like, I don't necessarily think that we should be smoking pot in recovery. I think that a stable mind state is optimal, right? But I definitely don't feel like weed is nearly as much of a problem as anything else. Anyways, that's my
This country has to offer.
2 cents.
This is 1 year follow-up data. If we want continuous, uninterrupted sobriety, that is the green piece of the pie. Of 600 adolescents, we have 12 adolescents, a little less than that actually, that have maintained continuous, uninterrupted sobriety. 40%, we have no measurable effects of the intervention. Meaning that post-treatment drug use is no different than pre-treatment drug use.
I want to stop it right there. It's interesting. This is a study in a pie graph depicting 600 adolescents in a cannabis treatment something, right? So initially, the test group, they're children, adolescents. I feel like for me, this data isn't very useful, right? Because I'm not an adolescent anymore. But like, as far as, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'll just say I'm not surprised that the largest piece of this pie is adolescents that didn't have sustained recovery. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not surprised in the slightest.
But look at these other groups. So about half, by the way, if we think treatment works or doesn't work, we got about half. Now, this group here are in and out of recovery, in and out of problems, but they're spending more time experiencing problems than they are in stable recovery in the first 12 months.
That's the dark blue here at the bottom.
This next pie up is intermittent, 7%, but they're actually spending considerable time in recovery during that first year.
And that light blue is the exact opposite of the dark
next
blue.
Group,
right? They're the same exact group, except this one's spending more time in recovery, and this group is spending more time in having problems.
I'm in recovery during that first year. The next group is later sustained recovery. This is a fascinating group.
This is the group that I fall into. If I were to wind back the clock, this 15% later sustained recovery.
This is a group that clinically deteriorated almost immediately after treatment. I mean, they were high within minutes of discharge in some cases.
Oh, yeah.
And we thought, oh man, broke our hearts. Treatment failures.
Had more research to do. So
the early outcomes looked horrible.
Hold on.
But
what he's about to say is mind-blowing to me. But remember that 15% we're talking about right now. What did it say? Later sustained recovery? Got high minutes after leaving treatment kind of thing? This is why.
We got out to 3 months and 6 months, and particularly 9 months and 12 months. What do you think we found? Nice recovery effects. This is a typical adolescent recovery pattern, not unusual at all. Because I don't care what we taught the adolescent, cognitively, how do they learn? They learn behaviorally.
Yes.
And we have given them a set of knowledge that principles they now have to test out.
We had to go do our own research, and that's me. I had to take the concepts that I learned in AA and in recovery, and I had to go put them to the test 100%. Now, I might not have thought about this like cognitively, but subconsciously, however it manifested, that's what happened 100%. Like, I can be cognitive all day long, but I got to go use my hands and figure it out. At the end of the day, I have to, if I'm going to make a mistake, it's going to be with my head hitting the wall. I'm going to run right into that sucker and make sure it's real. And that's just how I am. It's not, I don't want to be that way. I don't not want to be that way. It just is, right? It is what it is. And I think that's very, very curious. If we pull that back, that piece of the pie is one of the largest sections, the third largest, right? I don't know, just curious stuff to me. I had never thought about that. Why did I have to do this 3 or 4 times? Well, it's because I thought I was smarter than everyone that came before me, right? It's because I'm a slave to my own, what's the word? urges, right? What I need is what I need, and I needed to go figure it out myself. Apparently, now ideally, I wouldn't need to go do my own research, right? Ideally, I could take the information given to me, take it as fact, and then just fix my life. But that's not how it had to work. So I guess what I'm trying to say, if I were to try and craft that into an overall message, if you fall and stumble, it's okay. We're just learning, right? We're just having experiences to learn from. I think far less of us make it on the first go than those that come around later, right? That figure it out someday. Yeah, it's definitely the same guy from last week, Tara. I've been looking for other people of this caliber that talk about stuff like this, and I've been struggling. If you know any medical professionals or advocates that do stuff like this and have material for me to read or listen to, or there's still a bunch of papers this guy's written for me to go through, but at the same time, it would be cool to listen to someone else. So if you guys know of anyone, let me know. Kristen Melinda might. She's pretty educated and in the field professionally. I'm going to continue looking because again, I would like to switch it up. I think this guy's great, but I do get tired of listening to him. Hey Jeremy, what's going on, man? I'm sorry you're having a rough day. Let's get some ones up for Jeremy, guys. Anyone else out there that needs a little extra? Much love, dude. You've got this. You're dazzling and tremendous. I wonder if it's going to be hotter today, and that's why it's hotter in my house. I'm going to check the weather real quick. I probably should just turn the AC on, but then I'm going to be shivering. Guaranteed. It's like the same. It's been all week. It's just me. It's just me. Thank you guys all for the ones. Grace Twinkle Toes. Hey, hey, hey. Love It says, it's so weird. Society generally reacts as if addicts deserve to suffer. Strangely, underneath, so do addicts. Unwrapped, it's the perfect path to giving up. So many twisted layers. And this is all born of us not understanding it. Like the people that are addicts and the people that are observing the addicts. I think none of us really truly understand what's going on. And I also feel like there has been such a large period of time spent where we didn't understand. Now we're coming to understand. And now this knowledge that we're gaining is at odds with this traditional way that didn't really work. Worked for some, right? But really, I mean, the stats say everything. It's not working, right? What's new with everyone? Well, I played a bunch of video games yesterday. I guess that's nothing to write home about. I took some super glue. I don't know if I showed you guys taking this thing apart, but there's like a little screw in the center of that. And then these diagonal panels here come off, and there's screws in there. And then it comes apart. There's like a top, a bottom, and then the middle is like a circuit board with all kinds of wires coming off it. It's all crazy. But these bumpers, it's still not crispy, but it works. I showed you the busted piece of it, but it's like it's just a thin plastic span that you take it apart and you kind of slide it in there and then put it back together. And it has like a pointy, like an arrow. When you press the bumper and it goes into a hole and presses an actual button. And I super glued it back together yesterday, and it made it through a whole like 3-hour game session. So it seems to be working. Shout out to Crazy Glue. Works on plastic. I haven't really played guitar since I inspired myself the other day. I've been thinking about it, dreaming about it. That's pretty much all that's new with me, man. Nothing too crazy. I'm hoping to go RV shopping with my dad today and take this sucker on the road. Hey, Ms. Tree, how you doing? It's really good to see you. You guys want to hear something? I don't know if it's depressing. I'm proud and not embarrassed, but I feel like objectively I should be embarrassed and kind of sad. But I've spent almost 500 hours playing Elden Ring. 479 hours to be exact, because Steam logs the amount of time you spend playing. I saw that number today and I was like, what else have I done for 500 hours? I wonder. How many hours does it take to become a master? 5,000? Like 10% of the way there. Getting the boat on the road is a brilliant idea, isn't it? I'm so stoked. I can't wait to see. I wonder how much finagling we're gonna have to do to get the studio in there. You know what I mean? To get microphones, cameras, internet, right? All that stuff. I wonder. It's probably not rocket science, but maybe it's RV science. My mustache is looking large today, guys. Check it out. If I could grow it a little further, like an old, I don't know, not like a handlebar, but like an old Western stash, what do you guys think? You think it would be terrible? Would you support me? What if I shaved everything except the mustache that connected to sideburns and went up? And this was all shaved. Like the old Confederate, what is that? Face strap. What about that one? What do you think? Dude, me too. Me too. That's so cool. That just made me so excited, Brianna. I assume Dane's your man. I was like anticipating the drop of Elden Ring like forever, and the day that it dropped, I decided on that moment I was like, I'm calling into work for a whole week. I don't remember if I lost that job or if I was working for the union and it didn't matter. I can't remember exactly how that went, but I literally played it for a week straight, and I wasn't burnt out. I wanted more. I wanted more. I'm really excited for the spin-off they're coming out with. The co-op looks sweet. Yeah, Dale's tolerance is definitely a steel wall. Inspirational. But you know how he got that way, right? Practice. He's out there practicing every day. He's doing push-ups with his taste buds. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty neat. Plenty of van lifers manage YouTube channels. It has to be doable, right? 100%. 100%. There's definitely a way. There's definitely a way. And you know, I'm going to figure it out. We're going to find out. I feel like I did the one hot minute wrong because I was doing too many things at once. Is it just like we all do something hot with Uncle Johnny? Or is there like a follow up? Is there more that happens after the intake of spice? Will you play your guitar on here one day? Would love to hear. I will. Absolutely. Um, I would play it for you right now if I felt prepared, but I don't. Haven't been playing, so I will definitely do this though, 100%. I currently am trying to find my passion and my inspiration. And some days it's easy to find, and some days I don't know where I left it. Um, and I think that plays a huge part in my guitar. It plays a huge part in my guitar. Um, there have been a couple songs I've had my eye on, my ear on, that I've wanted to learn recently. I believe. Let's see. Let's see. I've wanted to learn. Gonna make sure I have the right song. The names blend together. Oh, that makes sense. Thanks for your patience, folks. Man, I don't know what I've done to myself, but now and again, I'll get this this pain in my shoulder, like in my rotator cuff, like where the shoulder sticks into the socket. And I feel like I've got weak shoulders or something. I feel like it has something to do with falling asleep with my arms over my head, but I haven't been able to nail it down yet. But man, my shoulder is killing me today. It's always on the side that I had all those car accidents on. So I'm sure that it has something to do with soft tissue damage. Why is this happening? Good God Almighty. I just want to know if this is the song that I've been thinking about learning. Here we go. This one's going to. One of the songs is called Kin by Whitechapel. That would be an acoustic. I would really, really like to learn that. It is not the song. What's the other one? Kind of a biscuit eating bulldog. Now I'm not going to be able to remember what song it is. Although that song was pretty legit. Is it 1,000 Apologies? Maybe it's 1,000 Apologies. It is. Yeah, I listen to a lot of Demon Hunter. And I've been trying to come up with guitar, good songs with that I could learn the guitar part for, that I could also sing to. It's not like it's also something shareable. When I say shareable, I don't think that I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that. I find Behemoth much less digestible than something like Demon Hunter. So that's my thought process there. But 1,000 Apologies by this band, and is a song I've been thinking about learning. And I don't know if I'm going to acoustify it or not. I'll probably do that one electric. But also Kin by Whitechapel. I really want to do this one because I'll sing the lyrics and I'll cry. It'll be great. And I would probably not do the electric portion of this just because I would have to switch between the acoustic and the electric in the middle of the song. And I don't really want to do that. But these are two songs I've had my ear on. And both of these songs hit me right in my heart soul. They just make me tear up. I'm pretty sure Demon Hunter's a religious band, by the way. Thanks, my own eyes and ears. I appreciate that. I'm sure that we're going to be hopping between uh, voters that are set up like this. I feel like this is definitely something in our future. What a what a boon to have people that are willing to let us park. You know what I mean? We're going to probably need that in a lot of spots. So I really really appreciate that offer. I think so. I feel like this was a while ago, wasn't it? Having a hard time remembering. Let me pull it up. Maybe the visual will. I did not. Ungrave. Looks dark. Snowblood. checking it out right now, Jeremy. I don't think that I did, man. Drummer's like, that's awesome. Hey, Tara, thank you so much. Your your unending support is a blessing. Sometimes I feel like I'm not grateful enough, um, but I'm just filled with gratitude. Thank you. Andrew B, what's going on? Doing all right today, Kim. So far, so good. When I woke up, I wasn't feeling it, but I made myself move the legs, move the body, did some yoga, had some coffee, and I'm definitely feeling way well. Shouldn't say that right there. And then did some lifeboat, and now I'm feeling a lot better. I think the combination of the caffeine, body movement, stretching, and then this has really turned me around. Thanks for being here. I like it. I tell you what, though, for me to like really latch onto it, I'll need to listen to the lyrics and like feel it. Although what he's doing with that guitar reminds me of Rage Against the Machine. I can't identify what that sound is. The last time that happened, it was because the guy from Rage Against the Machine was rubbing batteries on the strings while he was doing solos. You guys know that? If you put metal, anything metal, a spoon, a battery, all kinds of stuff, on the strings of your electric guitar while you're playing, it makes very strange noises. Rage Against the Machine has it in recordings on their songs. Well, I'm glad it helps, Tara. I tell you what, I do my best. Um, I'd be lying if I said this doesn't help me, you know? Okay, Ghost Atlas. I'll have to check them out as well. I'll have to check them out as well. The lyrics aren't like a make or break for me, but I do enjoy digging into them. Like for example, the Black Dahlia Murder. All of their lyrics are abysmal. That's the name of one of their albums, lol. But like they're like a horror themed metal band, right? So like I'm not gonna resonate with anything they have to say, right? But I dig that band a ton for different reasons, right? In fact, some of their lyrics are hard to listen to, like extremely hard to listen to. But if I ignore it, it's wonderful. But I do enjoy some good lyrics. Hey Nana of two, I'm sorry you're dealing with pain. I'm right there with you. I tell you what, although I'm getting a little better. I like Ice Nine Kills a lot, actually. There's a lot of bands that are like that that I totally like. And I think that when I was younger and I first started getting into this stuff, I think that shock value was more valuable to me at that time. So now a lot of it's nostalgia value too. Like Kill Whitney Dead, one word. They're pretty raunchy, but I like them. It's a band. I'm just gonna start naming the worst metal bands. Waking the Cadaver, absolutely terrible, but I dig it. There's a ton of terrible music that I'm into. You've seen Ice Nine Kills 3 times? Super jealous. I think the only band I've seen thrice is Gojira and Mastodon, which I'm not mad about. Those were pretty sweet shows. I saw them together a couple times too. Maybe just once. I like Cradle. Cradle's awesome. The reason you probably get so much flack for hating them is because of what they did for the genre and their like uniqueness. Um, yeah, it floats the boats of all the freaks out there. You know what I mean? Like me. Hey, feisty Irish, how you doing? Hey, Sid, what's going on? Yeah, Gojira. Very, very cool. The first time I saw them, they were opening for Mastodon at the Depot in Salt Lake City, and I've never seen so many guitar picks thrown off stage. Every song, he was like, yeah. He was super, super fired up to be the guitarist that day. And I mean, which is cool. They were killing it. It didn't hit me until years later how unique of a band Gojira was. I didn't really get it that first time around, I have to say. They're more akin to Meshuggah and like ain't like greats than they are to any of the modern stuff. Their time signatures, their out of the boxness, they're a force all themselves for sure. You know what? I think nature is calling me. I need to pick up that phone. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. I'm gonna go make breakfast most likely. Mm, I want to see a mastodon someday though, or a mammoth. Either I'd be happy. You're funny, Tara. Me too. Me too. Why don't elephants have a bunch of hair anymore? What's up with that? You know. But yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Shout out to the mods, the crew, anyone new. You guys are the best. Thanks for being here. We'll see you in the morning. I will keep you in the loop on the RV and all the happenings and the things. Reach out to me at tobcalhoun@gmail.com. On the email, reach out to me in the comments in Facebook Messenger if you need to, if you want to. I hope you guys have a great day, all right? Treat yourself nice. You deserve it. Oh, and Brianna, I don't know what's for breakfast. I need to go to the grocery store, so I'm either going to make cheesy eggs, I'm going to do my go-tos, or I'm going to make pancakes, or I'm going to go to the store and get some like yogurt and oatmeal and other fixins because I'm getting pretty sick of eggs, and pancakes. What are you having for breakfast? She's going to say tacos. I love all those bands too, Blue Nose. This is the kind of stuff I'd listen to with my dad growing up. I sing Thin Lizzy almost every day of my life. Whenever the boys get together, you know what I say? Boys are back in town. Yeah. Hopefully that didn't hurt your ears. Shepherd's pie. Oh my. Dude, I'm so jealous. I thought tacos made me jealous. Shepherd's pie? Delicacy. Lucy and I made shepherd's pie from scratch once, and we made this puff pastry as the dough, like from scratch as well. And it involved folding butter into dough and then smashing it and kneading it, and then folding butter into dough and smashing it and kneading it, and folding butter into dough like 9 times. It was the most ridiculous, flaky, crispy, beautiful dough a shepherd's pie has ever had. Yeah. That being said, I'm going to get out of here, all right? Much love, y'all.